Okay, so today's video is again for the people who were not able to get their textbooks yet, and so this will help you to answer one of the discussion questions, or you could just summarize this video, and that would also be a discussion question option. So today we're going to look at consciousness. Okay, so consciousness, and that was another chapter. So consciousness is another word for awareness. Okay, so oops, don't confuse this with conscience, which is knowing what's right from wrong. Consciousness is awareness. Okay, so whether or not, if you're conscious, are you aware of what's going on around you? Are you unconscious and not aware? Okay, so today we're going to look at sleep and dreams. Okay, so sleep and dreams. Okay. Yes. And your textbook goes through and has and you can look this up as well on online sources. Stages 1 to 4 of irregular waves. Right. So stages 1 to 4. So you have 5 sleep stages, right? And stages 1 to 4 are characterized by irregular waves. Now, regular waves characterize wakefulness. So irregular waves characterize when you're in different stages of sleep or different types of sleep. Okay, so you go through, the first time you cycle through, it's stages 1 to 4, and then it's followed by a 5th stage of REM. REM, as a lot of you have heard before, is rapid eye movement. So REM is rapid eye movement. Okay, so the 5th stage is REM, rapid eye movement. And this is where the dreams, the waves are similar to being awake, right? So that's why when you wake up sometimes from a dream, you're not sure if it was a dream. Like, was I dreaming or was I awake?
Yeah, that sometimes happens if I try different lightings and then I'm dreaming about it and it has the same lighting.
Yeah, and the parts of your brain that are activated when you're awake, so when you're feeling something, when you're hearing something, when you're touching something, the part of your brains that are activated when it's actually happening, those are the same parts of the brain that are activated when you're asleep and dreaming. So that's why the dreams sometimes feel really real, and why some people have really problem with nightmares. And again, it feels like you're awake. Your brain waves look like you're awake, right? Now, those dreams that you have in the 5th stage of sleep or in REM, they're vivid dreams. They have a plot, okay? But sometimes people, and I also have dreams where people have dreams where there's really not a plot. It's just some weird thing that you see right before you go to bed or right before you fall asleep. So, for example, like you might see like an elephant doing laundry, or a squirrel playing guitar, and you're like, what was that? And then you fall asleep, right? So, and that's how I know when I'm falling asleep, is when I suddenly see something super weird and I just fall asleep. So dreams can happen in other stages, but the vivid dreams that you can remember that have a plot, those are going to be during REM, or rapid eye movement, that stage. And you cycle through several times in a night, depending how many hours you're sleeping. This is why they want you to get a certain number of hours of sleep so that you cycle through. Because REM is actually the most restful time of sleep. It's paradoxical sleep. So it means that your muscles are paralyzed, your body's paralyzed, while your mind is fully awake. Okay, so that's why we want you to get a lot of REM sleep, because that's when your body's really resting, and that's when your body's capable of healing and rejuvenating during restful sleep. This is also why we caution against sleeping pills. A lot of sleeping pills, they
don't really work.
Right, they don't really
work. They
just
make you unconscious. That's it.
Right, they might increase the hours of sleep, but the quality of sleep is not good. The REM is shortened, and the other stages of sleep are increased, and that's not really good for you, because once you get off the sleeping pills, a lot of times what happens is something called REM rebound, and REM rebound is characterized by a lot of nightmares. So this is why we try to recommend, if you're having trouble sleeping, we recommend other things before medication. So We'll recommend having a bedtime routine. It's just getting to know yourself. Do you like warm milk before bed, or do you not like warm milk before bed? Do you like to sleep?
I try to do chair yoga right before I sleep. I don't know why. It's fun.
Okay. So, whatever you like to do. Sorry. It's coronavirus, so it's like, and I cough, people get really scared. Yeah, or try to, if you like to have your socks on or not have your socks on, do you like to take a shower before bed? Do you have to have your hair dry before bed? Do you like to read before bed? Put away your phones. Don't do anything else in bed except for sleeping, so that you're not associating the bed with other activities. The only exception to that is, SEX. I have a young child here, so that's the only other activity. If you want to just associate your bed with sleep, that way when you go into your bed, you feel like, this is where I sleep, and then it'll help trigger that in your mind and help you. Also, they say that if you're in bed for more than 20 minutes, if you're in bed for more than 20 minutes and you can't fall asleep, so get up and walk around, and don't sit there and ruminate and be all worried about how you're not getting any sleep. So
I just sit up and then try to do chair yoga in my bed.
Okay. So that said, my little board got kind of smooched.
I'm sorry, it's just my arms.
That's not you, Haley.
I was just making my bracelets.
Okay. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay. Say
Yeah,
hi.
they look discombobulated.
Okay, people want to see your face. You want to say hi? Because they hear your voice.
Hi.
Okay. All right. So the National Sleep Foundation in 2015, they recommend a lot of sleep. Probably a lot more sleep than I hear than I get, and that a lot more sleep than I hear my students over the years have gotten. So anyway, these are the recommendations. Strive for them. But again, if you feel okay, and usually they will say if you are awake, if you're still sleepy after 1 hour of being awake, that might be a sign that you need to get more sleep. But for a lot of us, when we wake up and you hit the shower and you get ready, you get dressed, if you're feeling good energy, you're probably okay. So for newborns, they want 14 to 17 hours of sleep. And as they say with a lot of new moms, they say, just sleep when the baby sleeps. So it's really, really great.
Yeah, like me. Like, my mom tried to make me sleep in a crib for one night.
Yeah.
I totally cried.
Oh, boy.
And then Grandma said that, how about you,
sleep when the baby sleeps. And then you come back, for maternity leave, if we're fortunate to have it, or you come back and you're very, very well rested. And don't worry about the house and don't worry about cleaning. If you can, just during that phase, sleep when the baby sleeps. You just had a baby. So, okay, infants, 12 to 15 hours of sleep. Okay, so that's pretty nice, 12 to 15 hours of sleep. Sometimes when you go for a drive, when you come home, they're just sleeping. So if they're like in a car seat, you bring the car seat in and you've got like a couple of hours to yourself at least. Next we have toddlers at 11 to 14 hours of sleep. This is ages 1 to 2, very cute age. 11 to 14 hours of sleep. And then you've got like preschoolers, 3 to 5. They're already here in nursery school, maybe kindergarten. 10 to 13 hours is the recommended amount of sleep. If you want to follow the National Sleep Foundation, okay, so 10 to 13 hours is recommended. For school-age children, which is my daughter here, who's 8, so it's ages 6 to 13, 9 to 11 hours of sleep. No, don't write on that. Oh, okay, so you're okay. So 9 to 11 hours of sleep, okay? And I think they say 8 is acceptable, and 12 is acceptable. But 9 to 11 would be recommended. There's a chart online that you can take a look at. And again, if the source is National Sleep Foundation, then that's recommended. Teens, 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And I know teenagers are not getting that. I see them in the dark waiting for the bus. So they're waking up before the sun comes up. They're basically at the bus stop before the sun comes up, some of them, and they've been on their phones and talking to friends just 5 hours ago. So like, we know that that's a situation. We know that there are schools that want to do a late start for that very reason. So if that's happening in your school, I would say, if you can't support it, or support the people who support that, so they could push that through. Sorry, Bella. We also have a little Yorkie speaking, and if she asks me again, I'll just bring her up to say hello. Adults, most of us are going to fall under adults, 18 to 64 years old, so 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Again, when I poll my classes, I hear things, some people are getting this, but I'm also hearing a lot of people getting 3, a lot of people getting 5. And there are some times in your life, yes, there are some times in your life that you have to do that. You're working 2 jobs and you're going to school full time. It does not really, it's not really conducive to getting the recommended hours of sleep. But sometimes that's just for a season. Hopefully it'll just be a season, and then in a while you can get yourself in a situation where you could get the sleep that you feel you need. Because not having sleep certainly makes people irritable, and it certainly influences functioning. And 65 and up, right? So it's 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And again, I already know some adults who are 22, and they say 6 is fine for me. So you kind of feel it out, for yourself. How do you feel when you wake up? How do you feel during the day? Are you falling asleep during the day? If you are needing to nap during the day, which is absolutely acceptable in some cultures, and so it's acceptable here. So I know a lot of teachers, when they're awake so early, that they come home and they sleep for a little while. But they say try not to make it more than an hour, because it'll prevent you from falling asleep later that night. Okay, so those are just recommendations from the National Sleep Foundation.
I sometimes like doing yoga instead, or chair yoga.
You can do yoga at night, and there's a lot on YouTube, like bedtime yoga, that could help you fall asleep. So
yeah, and smelling fine stuff. Yeah, that's weird. It's like
you might have like lavender, smell of lavender. That's always nice. Okay, do dreams have meaning? Oh, can you read that? Because that's a question mark. Do dreams have meaning? Again, my little whiteboards got kind of smooched in transit.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, do dreams have meaning? Okay, so again, you can use this to answer one of the discussion questions, or you can just summarize this video, and that'll be a discussion option once I put this up. Okay, so according to Freud, who wrote a book called The Interpretation of Dreams, which I do not recommend, but this is where it comes from. And I also don't recommend any dream dictionaries online. I'd say you have the most knowledge of what something means in a dream, and so it would be about going through your past and going through your current situation and trying to figure out what that dream means. So let's get into manifest content. Okay, so manifest content. As you can tell, I'm a working mom. So manifest content is this is the content that you can tell. Oh, did you? Okay.
What?
It sounded like she burped or something. Okay, so manifest content. This is the content that's that you can tell immediately upon waking. So it's the actual plot of the dream. So someone says, I was dreaming, I was walking through a forest, or I was walking through a house, and I opened each door. The funny thing is about dreams also is that you kind of suspend your disbelief. You sort of say, you kind of have this alternate thinking. Like you'll see someone, you'll say, oh, I opened a door in a house and I saw it was my teacher, but I knew it was my mother. And just like your brain knows it, even though it looks like your teacher, it's your mom. So there's a lot of that interesting stuff happening in dreams. So that's the manifest content.
Yeah, like once I dreamed I was like freaking bitten by a coyote.
Yeah, so, and then, I just dreamed last night that I was, dancing with my dad, and he was crying, and my dad died last summer. So, and then I remembered, like, at my wedding, when we were dancing, he was, like, almost crying, and I thought, why is he almost crying?
Why?
So, and it's just
Why?
the emotion of it. I don't think, I don't think you can process emotions that are happening necessarily when they're happening. And sometimes it takes a long time later. It could take years later for you to process emotions that are happening because it's just not ready yet. The resources are not there yet. The time is not there yet. So you have manifest content to your dreams. Those are the things that you can tell somebody what your dream was about. Now, some people think, that's it. If that's all there is. They don't really have meaning. It's your mind's way of getting rid of excess information from the day. But other people, particularly people in psychoanalytic or psychodynamic tradition, they believe in latent content. And latent content, again, the book by Freud, The Interpretation of Dreams, which it's not that I don't recommend it. Well, actually, it is.
Do you agree with it?
It is that I don't recommend it because there are other sources to read at this time. If this is Introduction to Psychology. If you're into psychodynamic, maybe later on read it. But he makes an argument, and I think it's true. I agree with the argument. But the book, if you have any questions about the book, just email me and I'll explain why I don't really recommend it.
I think it's because, on some parts you don't agree.
Yeah, but it's okay to not agree. But there are a couple of specific things in there. But latent content in a dream. So he argues, and I agree with this part that latent content is the symbolism of the dream, and he'll argue it's what the dream really means. So even though you walked through a house, he's not going to think that that's the true meaning of the dream. He was very interested in sex. And so, yeah, okay, yes, okay. I'm not going to say that again.
Say that word.
Okay, so he's very interested in sex, and he felt, for example, that going through a tunnel or walking into a house, that the ultimate meaning of that dream was sex, right? So it's a little, maybe for some people that would be true, but I don't think necessarily it's always true. So. But I do think that there is symbolism. I think that, if you dream, there's dreams, they're chasing dreams, they're falling dreams. And,
I have so much falling dreams.
So many falling dreams. So it might be, so that's the manifest content, is that you fell. The latent content might be, I fell, what have I lost control over? Why do I feel like I'm falling? What situation in my life do I feel is out of control and chaotic, and that might explain why I dreamed why I was falling or being chased, right? So who is chasing you? In the dream, it's a monster, right? So that's the manifest content. But the latent content is, who is that monster truly in your life? Is it, and it's usually going to be someone close to you, right? Is it your your spouse, your mom, your dad, sibling?
Like someone pushing me.
Okay.
It was my BFF.
Oh, so so somebody having a dream that
I actually did have a BFF with Chloe.
Don't say any names. All right, so that's basically, yes, that's a fake name. So she's a psychology person, so she knows to immediately change names. Okay, so that's it. That's going to help you with a couple of discussion question posts or options. So that's basically it. Email me with any questions, and this is kind of fun. So maybe I'll post another video for a couple of our other discussions too. Okay, have a good week. I'll see you in the discussion.